Hi there. Today I bring you round 7 from the Magnus Carlsen Invitational, which was played yesterday's date for New Zealand, the 1st of May. And this is just before the semi-final for 4 players to thrash it out together to go for the prize fund that's right in front of you right here, which is 70,000 for first, as I've already said, 45,000 for second. It's hard to believe that they just have to sit at home and play chess. Third place is 30,000, and fourth is 30,000 as well, 22,500, and then 20,000, 17,500, and then 15,000, which aren't too bad a drop really. And 8th place, that would be pretty good, even just that, $15,000. I believe that would be American. So anyway, let's get into the game. So who are the top players at the number 4 spots to go into the semi-final? Okay, who are they? They are the following. We've got Hikaru at number 1 position for the USA, of course, and then we've got Ding Lewin from China, and Magnus Carlsen in 3rd place for Norway, and Fabiano is for the United States, and just underneath at 5th place is Russia. Okay, and Holland, Netherlands, Gary is on 7th place, which is quite a significant number for me. I like the number 7, but I won't go into divulge why that is. So here we go. Let's have a look at this game between 1st position and 4th position. Hikaru versus Fabiano, and Hikaru is black. I've done some outtakes today. You can probably appreciate that. And I think I'm recording. I'll just check. Yes, I am. I'm just thinking, am I recording? So we've still got you'll still be able to see the players at the bottom of the field, which I wouldn't mind fine for $15,000 any day. So here we got Nakamura versus Caruana, and here are the opening moves. We have a King's Indian Samish variation. Do we know what that is? Maybe not, but here we go. We will Smyslov variation. So here we go, and I'm not going to do another outtake because I've done some. I actually got something majorly wrong with a country's flag, who they were playing for, so I don't want to put that on the internet. So now we have the unusual, this is what it says down here, early deviations in the King's Indian for white, including the Smyslov system. So we've got E4, E5, and then we've got knight F3. Well, that's pretty good, wasn't it? So here we go, knight C6 and D5. Even I know how to play these moves. And so knight E7, and so we've got a pretty well proper kind of a King's Indian setup with bishop E2, bishop E3. This is a 15-minute and 10 seconds increments each per move, where the director of play comes along to your clock, and every time you, or the arbiter, or the referee, or whatever you want to call them, the umpire, comes around to your board and adjusts your clock at every time that you've made your move and pressed the clock. What if that was the case? So here we go. DC6. So these positions have come about a lot, and favoured by black players. The King's Indian is amongst those players is, of course, Garry Kasparov. So here, white's going to end up with a bishop on the white squares locked down to the pawns all around the place, but at the same time, white can look to build stations for his knights on d5 and maybe even c6. Who knows? And whereas we've got 4 versus 4 currently on the king side, and so the pawns are all locked up, but generally speaking, the King's Indian, white attacks in the center and on the queen side, and black, however, concentrates a little bit on the central, but more so on the king side, with an onslaught of an assault of black pawns coming down the G and H file. Now the rook shoves off to e8, so Caruana moves off to e8 with his rook rather than have the knight capture it. It is said that in a book that I've read a long time ago, that a knight, especially if it's here, is like a rook. A knight on the 6th rank is and can be equal to a rook, but the rook moved to e8 because it doesn't want to have white that material advantage, if you get what I mean. So here's g4, and because it's the sort of Nimzowitsch kind of thing where the pawns presenting themselves and coming into the fray, and in this case they're both on black's 5th rank, they have a little bit more influence on the position, and they can, at the end of the day, cramp white's style on the king side. It's very difficult to meet these pawns for white, my opinion. So white's setting about moves like queen e1 and that sort of thing, and queen f1, and now just looking after the f pawns and all that sort of stuff, and the entry squares to h3 maybe. But now black threatens something. It's very simple to see. It's a wee trick that happens a lot in chess. So black is threatening knight e4, okay? Because that will be picking up a pawn. See a pawn, pick it up, put it in your coffee cup, and that's from William Hartston in this book, How to Cheat at Chess, I think, or else it's in his next book from this. So black is threatening knight e4 here, and no doubt white knows this. So anyway, white is threatened with knight e4, and here there's an attack and there's a taking of this pawn, and there's also an attack on the bishop on h4, and if the bishop takes the bishop on f6 check, then it's just knight takes. The knight runs away from capture on f3, from f3 to e4, and runs away and takes off with a pawn. So here we got a5. So no doubt white would have seen this. And here we got a countermeasure, as it's written about on the internet site, bishop d3. this is a counter measure pin, but we have bishop h4, so white has lost a pawn, so now it's 4 against 3 on the king side, and so that's quite important for white to look out for, and black's going to utilize that to strong effect. Now this is just kind of like in white's face really, because this is just going to be planting the f pawn. Now rook a1 comes about, and this is with the idea of queen a6. And so rook a8 happens now for black, but we will look at just this simple, what I would call a blunder. If queen b6 now, okay, then we just have simply rook here, and the queen's got nowhere to go. It's going to lose itself to a rook and a pawn. So it's going to get a rook and a pawn for the queen. The queen's got no exit other than defending itself or something to that effect. If it goes to queen c7, which is the only square that I can see other than b4, which is silly, queen c7, and then we have rook a7, and the queen is now lost. So we have rook a8, and rook a8 and queen b5, protecting white's hopes. As this pawn on b6, if it is allowed to run, it becomes a queen very quickly with protection of the knight, and now in this case the queen on b5 as well. So black has to respect this of white's possibilities and plays f3, g3, bishop g5, and then knight a5, b7, and now we can't now play knight c6 here because queen takes pawn, or rook takes pawn are good for black. So we will flip the board now from here on in. Here's rook f1, king g7. That's a bit odd. I think I'll flip the board again, and I'm not doing an outtake. I think I'll flip the board again because I just remember it from that point of view easiest. h4, because this looks like quite a reasonable move, because like if gh3 now, then white will, as the computer alerts to, play either queen f3 or rook f3. However, Caruana just takes this pawn, okay, and all of a sudden white's left with the dilemma of, after this capture, these pawns are now two connected passed pawns. These are both passed pawns connected with a protection passed pawn. So now it's very dangerous for white, especially that white's king is here, and white doesn't want to allow this sort of stuff, or other things like queen to g4 and h3 and queen h2 or g2 checkmate, that sort of thing. And also queen takes pawn, check, and getting in there with 3 and 3 passed pawns here, that sort of thing. Not these 3 passed pawns, because they're not, there's only 1 passed pawn over there, Dave. So here's queen here. So this is another pawn that black gets to pick up for their bishop sacrifice. So here, of course, white is threatened with elementary stuff here. Elementary, dear Watson, is queen g3 check and queen g2 checkmate. Okay, so now white has to prepare themselves for that play is queen d2. So now if queen g3, then just king h2. I mean, king h2, king h1, and if queen checks again, then just repetition, thanks. So we will just have a look at that for your sakes. Okay, here check. Here we cannot play queen here. It looks quite a good move, but it's not really because of queen takes rook on f1, even though white could stay in the game, but not really. So here we would have, after this check here, and white would be very happy with a repetition of moves here. King g6. Now, I would say that, without looking, that this is to prevent queen g5 should this queen go off this diagonal to hang around the black king, the white king. So knight c4 and queen f6. Wee bit of repetition here, and now knight e3 happens, queen f4. Now it's very difficult for white to save yet another pawn. So it's getting close to curtain time. Knight g2, and here is the final move of black, which fastens down the game. Okay, so what would be your move here? If you're black, if you're the great Caruana, what would be your move here that that made Nakamura just fold? The two players from the States. The move was queen d4. Well done. Now this is threatening, amongst other things, queen exchange. It's threatening fg2. It's maybe even threatening g3. So the computer gives queen d4 is the best. And that's the end of this session. Thank you very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed today's session, and please call back. And at the end of the day, enjoy your game of chess, and no matter where your chess game is at, I hope it improves. And thank you for letting me be a part of your day. Thank you. All the best with your chess. Bye for now.